Dividing decimals with grids. We're going to model decimal divided by a decimal by using grids. So we're going to model 2 8/10 divided by 4/10. So in other words, that means that how many 4/10 are going to go into 2 8/10. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to model 2 8/10. So that means I'm going to have 2 wholes and 8/10. Then I'm going to make groups of 4/10 out of the 2 8/10. So that means I'm going to count off 1, 2, 3, 4/10 and make a group. 1, 2, 3, 4/10, and I make another group. 1, 2, 3, 4/10. I'm going to do this until I use all of my 2 8/10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of 4/10. So that means 2 8/10 divided by 4/10 equals 7. The next type of problem with dividing decimals with grids is a whole number divided by a decimal. So I have 3 wholes divided by 75 hundredths. So that could be represented by 3 grids, which is my 3 wholes, and I want to make groups of 75 hundredths. So I'm going to make groups of 75 hundredths, and I'm going to count 75 hundredths. So that's going to be 7/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 5 hundredths. And section that off. That's 75 hundredths. And I'm going to shade this in to indicate one group of 75 hundredths. Then I'm going to make another group of 75 hundredths. So I've got 25 here in this first grid. Then I can add 50 more squares. We'll make 75. So here's another group of 75. And then I have 50 squares here. Another 25 squares. That's 75 hundredths. And then we have 5 hundredths, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this last group is 75 hundredths. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 75 hundredths. So that means that 3 divided by 75 hundredths equals 4. The last type of problem with dividing decimals by grids is with dividing a decimal by a whole number. So I have 2 5/10 divided by 5. So that means I'm going to make 5 groups out of 2 5/10. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to section off 2 5/10. So that's 2 wholes and 5/10. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many tenths I have out of the 2 5/10. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 10 more is 20. And then 5 more is 25. So I have 25 tenths. And I'm going to make 5 groups out of that 25 tenths. So that means that 25 tenths divided by 5 will give me 5. So I'm going to count off 5. tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I realized as I make 5 groups out of the 2 and 5 tenths, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. And within each group, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths. So 2 and 5 tenths divided by 5 is going to be 5 tenths. So there you go. This is going to be dividing decimals with grids.